Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all. My name is Iman Fatihah Binti Ahmad Johari, metric number 2119696. Today, I would like to present regarding my study, which is social media platforms and the influence on youth destination choices in Malaysia. In this era of modernization, many technologies have been developed that enable easy access to information via a variety of online media. One of the most popular is social media. The use of social media has risen significantly during et al. 2019. Based on Kapoor et al. 2018, social media is made up of numerous user-driven platforms that promote the dissemination of interesting material, the development of conversation and communication to a larger audience. Do you realize that nowadays people use social media to get information? Travelers plan their vacation by browsing internet social network for information, recommendation, and insight. Next, social media is important as well in the tourism industry, Gazelle 2018. Lastly, people use social media to find information, analyze alternatives, and make choices. Social media enable each user to act as a communication vehicle as people share their tourism-related experience, photos, video, and other information on their social media accounts. Paul et al. 2019. This is statistic that is related to my study, which state over 4.26 billion individuals use social media worldwide in 2021, with that figure expected to rise to over 6 billion by 2037, Dixon 2022. Meanwhile, in the beginning of 2022, which is in January, Malaysia had 30.25 million social media users, and the number of social media users in Malaysia was equivalent to 91.7% of the entire population, Camp 2022. The problem that has been identified in this study is the negative impact on social media. The reason can be supported by previous study. Social media might give negative impact such as interacting and exposing to bullying. Unlike et al. 2020, social media is not only addicting, but it also has the potential to contribute to suicide and self-harm, Binti 2018. The second problem is misinformation, as can be supported by previous study also. The accessibility and timeliness of social media have tremendously contributed to the development and transmission of false information such as rumors, spam, and fake news. Lastly, the problem is social media can cause the deterioration. Based on Household 2019, some individuals blame social media for the deterioration of some of the world's best tourist attractions due to over-tourism. Therefore, it can be seen through social media overcrowding can arise, affecting fragile environment and eroding soil.
The first research question is, what is social media uses among youth in Malaysia? The second research question is, what is the level usefulness of social media and the influence on youth destination choices in Malaysia?
Research question is there any relationship between usefulness of social media and the influence on youth destination choices in Malaysia? And so the first research objective is to determine social media usage among youth in Malaysia. The second research objective is to measure level usefulness of social media and the influence on youth destination choices in Malaysia. And the third research objective is to investigate is there any relationship between usefulness of social media and the influence on youth destination choices in Malaysia. Now, let us move on to the literature review, where the first independent variable, which is users of social media, the finding reveals social media influence is only apparent in certain situations. Rather, most situations involving destination choice are expected to have minimal social media impact, Time 2019. For the second independent variable, which is usefulness of social media, the finding reveals the usefulness of social media enhance the attractiveness of a location. Also, social media can actually make them consider traveling to a place they never thought they would, Amirah et al. 2019. And lastly, for the dependent variable, the influence on destination choice, the finding reveals due to the internet, people prefer to rely on what they see, watch online about tourist destination and place they wish to visit. Most of the respondents have similar travel goals and purposes, which could be due to personal one or their ability to travel for their own good. Now, let us move on to the theoretical framework. According to Cass et al. 1974, the users and gratification theory is a user-centered approach that focuses on how to use media for their own personal users and gratification. This theory suggests that the media has no power over audience. Instead, audience are highly active in their media usage, seeking out media to fulfill a certain need. Next, this theory explains that the users are active in the selection of their media they use, and they are aware of their reasons for selecting different media options. Lastly, Cass et al. 1974 also clarified that the motivation to consume media derives from 5 specific needs. For example, to escape or release tension from society. This conceptual framework was adapted from the users and gratification theory by Cass et al. 1974. This is because the variables in this study, which about the uses of social media and usefulness of social media, are related to that theory, since that theory focuses on how individuals use social media. This means that the users of social media can use social media for any purpose, for how many hours they want, and they can use social media according to their own preferences. Lastly, this theory can be indirectly related with the destination choice when the users of social media use social media to release tension. For example, the users of social media might look at the destination choice available on the social media platform. Now, research methodology. For the research design, this study used cross-sectional approach. Cross-sectional approach are studies that are conducted in a short period of time, Lavin 2006. This study also used survey. Ahmad et al. 2017 mentioned the quantitative survey approach has significant advantage such as the ability to be conducted and analyzed quickly. Next, research approach. This study used quantitative research approach. Bishar et al. 2021 stated the goal of quantitative research is to manipulate the relationship between independent and dependent variables. Based on the past study by Amira et al. 2019, their study also used quantitative research to identify the relationship between the type, usefulness and user habit of social media and use their choice to visit Langkawi. For the population and sample size, this study target Malaysian youth between age 15 to 30. They are 30.5% or 9.9 million on the age of 15 to 30. The study table by Treasury Morgan 1970 states the sample size is 384 people, and this study focused on people who are using social media in their daily life. For the sampling technique, the study used probability, which use simple random sampling method. Simple random sampling is a genuine probability sampling technique. It is also the most popular technique for deciding among a sample population for a wide range of purposes. Amira et al. 2019. This is the research instrument for socio-demographic in order to know the respondent background. So the research instrument for socio-demographic in order to know the respondent background. This is the research instrument for users of social media, and this question used the nominal. This is the research instrument for the level usefulness of social media. And lastly, this is the research instrument for the destination choice, and this question also was asking in Likert scale. This is also the research instrument for the destination choice. Next, reliability statistic for pilot test. For the usefulness of social media, the comma alpha is 0.849, which make the internet consistency of the item is good. For the influence use destination choices in Malaysia, the comma alpha value is 0.952, which also make the internet consistency of the item is good. Now, data analysis and result. I use descriptive statistic of variable to answer the objective number 1, which is to determine usage of social media, and to answer the objective number 2, to measure level usefulness of social media and the influence on use destination choice in Malaysia. This is the descriptive table for usage of social media, which include mean and standard deviation. For this independent variable, which is social media usage, the highest mean is 7.33, where the respondent agree that social media influenced them to go somewhere such as Johor, Selangor, Pulau Pinang, and Terengganu, while the lowest mean is 1.00, where the respondents agree that they have more than one social media account. This is the descriptive table for the level usefulness of social media, which also include the mean and standard deviation. For this independent variable, which is level usefulness of social media, the highest mean is 4.25, where the respondent agree that they choose the travel destination simply because they are attracted to the information available online on social media platform, while the lowest mean is 2.94, where the respondent disagree that they feel panic or paranoid if they went on a travel destination without using social media platform. Lastly, this is the descriptive table for the destination choice, which also include mean and standard deviation. For this dependent variable, which is the influence on use destination choice, the highest mean is 4.33, where the respondent agree that using social media platform is useful for destination choice purposes, while the lowest mean is 3.83, where the respondents feel neutral about changing their destination choice because of the content they observe in the social media platform. Next, the correlation. In order to answer the objective number 3, which is there any relationship between the usefulness of social media and the influence on use destination choices in Malaysia? This is the table for the Pearson correlation. The absolute correlation coefficient value of the usefulness of social media and the influence on use destination choices in Malaysia is 0.742. This indicates that the strength of the correlation between these two variables is strong. Next, there is a significant relationship between the usefulness of social media and the influence on use destination choices in Malaysia. Thank you for listening to my presentation.